So as you've probably seen with Kung Fu throwing, it's a great way to practice. Zen throwing is a different approach to throwing. It's way more steps, more focused on movement than Kung Fu throwing is. I find Kung Fu throwing is better for developing muscle memory, whereas Zen throwing is more about tweaking the techniques. And if you watch Ben throw versus Lou, I find Ben is a much more technical thrower and Lou is a much more sort of power finesse thrower. So this is Zen throwing, which Ben Wiggins came up with. It was posted on Sky magazine November 2011, just a few months after Lou Burruss's Kung Fu throwing was posted on his blog. And so we're going to do a little work through here. Again, I have Steve Winters with me from Calgary Phantoms. He's the captain of Calgary Phantoms, who are going to Nationals next week. And Steve actually did this routine with his team a little while ago. So just going to give Steve a chance to explain how he did it and what he thought about it.
Yeah, so we had a practice. It was actually the night of the Calgary Flood, so there weren't a lot of guys there. So we decided to just do throwing practice. And it was fun. It was a good way to stay active. So it's basically an exercise for 1 or 2 minutes, and then you keep on moving. And there's all sorts of different activities that you can try. And for me, I found it helps a lot with confidence, with sort of trickier throws you might not be used to throwing normally, and also with catching. It helps with that a lot. With regards to throws, it also pushes you to like trying out new throws. Like there's one on like your R&D throw, which is useful. I've been doing a lot more push passes this year, and also like forehand blades, which have been really useful against the zone for us this year. So, and I think it's good even beyond that for even beginning throwers to just focus on mechanics. There's one about sort of like looking back at the plane of your disc as you throw it through. So basic stuff like that I think really helped our team, and it was fun too, which was kind of one of the main points on like we tried it.
Awesome. And one of the parts in here too, when Steve talks about the R&D throw, so there's a whole, as Ben calls it, a scheme of incorporation, and I sort of say it's a line of progression that you can work with. So the way Ben explains it is throw occasionally in non-practice throwing. So you're just going out with some friends, at the quad, you have a disc in your backpack. Throw in pre-practice warm-ups, throw in game warm-ups, throw in meaningless games, throw in practice scrimmages, and throw in games. So he calls it non-practice throwing, but I think when you throw, you should almost count that as a practice. Like you should take it that seriously. We have lots of teams that do fitness twice a week, and they spend 1 to 2 hours on that, and that's really important, and it should be. And then they spend 2 days a week, 2 to 3 hours of time in a practice with the team, and they treat that as important, which it should be. And I think you should go out 1 to 2 times a week at least, okay, at minimum, and do practice throwing and treat that as serious, because it is serious. As Steve was saying, when you sort of develop those new throws, you first learn them on your own or with a buddy, then you take them to practice, and then you take it to a scrimmage, then you take it to a league game, then you take it to a tournament. So by the time you've thrown that throw in the tournament, you've probably thrown it 1,000 times, 2,000 times, 3,000 times before that, okay? It's not like you're trying it for the first time ever. Okay, we really want to develop the muscle memory, we want to learn the planes, we want to learn the snap and the release and everything like that. So this routine will take us through that, and as Ben says, without further ado, let's get to it.
Do you mind if I add something to
yeah.
that? You can cut this out of your video if you want, but I read Rob's website, I'm still reading it, but like I was reading it for a long time, and he emphasizes that point a lot, like get out and practice throwing, get out and practice throwing. For a long time I was just like, boy, Rob only has one idea. And then I realized the reason he kept repeating it is because it's really important. And then if you go out and practice your throwing, actually go out and do it, you become much more skilled and much more confident on the playing field. And that's helped my game a lot, for sure.
Sweet. And if you're not a creative person, or if you don't have an imagination and you don't know how to throw on your own, use these, get a buddy and go out and throw. Because you don't have to think, you just have the list here and you just do what it says. And then as you go along, you'll probably figure out, I don't really like doing this, but this helps, okay? It's not like you're stuck to the team, but it's just like doing CrossFit, right? CrossFit is a way to do a workout without thinking. It is good, but there are better ways to do it. This is a good way to do it. There are better ways for sure. What those are, figure it out for yourself, because it will be dependent on where you're at in throwing. So that was Zen throwing. Ben Wiggins developed that throwing routine, and this is a video showing you how to do it. Yeah, and you liked it.
I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun if you have no other good practice ideas, and it's always good to go out and practice throwing no matter what. So.
And there's 21 steps, so there's a lot. Work through them, pick and choose. Make sure if you're picking and choosing that you're picking ones that are different. So don't pick all the same one just because that's what you enjoy doing. Make sure you're confusing yourself, switching it up, making it awkward. Beautiful.